Now that Kulula and British Airways planes have returned to the skies, are passengers streaming back to airports to sort out their tickets? Heidi Goikos has us covered at OR Tambo International. We'll cross to her now. Heidi, what's the passengers' experience been of Comair's return to air? Have they found it easy to book flights? Are they swarming to the airports?
Well, it seems as though the message has trickled down to passengers that had previous tickets booked with either British Airways or Kulula. We do understand that Kulula has put on its social media platforms that only those that had tickets booked for today should arrive at the airport. And this is, of course, to try and avoid any kind of panic and very long queues with customers who had previously booked on previous days when the suspension was still in place, to try and get onto a flight for today. They had already scheduled flights for today that they need to make sure that they accommodate those passengers first. I'm going to ask my cameraman, Jul Matlala, to just show you. It's quite empty, but you can see that there are some passengers that are coming through to book. We do understand that it is British Airways that is flying to Mauritius as well as to Port Elizabeth, if I'm not mistaken, and they've already closed the Durban check-in counters. So it seems as though it's business as usual, and they are trying to accommodate as many passengers as possible, but only those that had booked today, and customers are urged to check the schedule.
Well, the suspension of flights was sparked, of course, by safety concerns. Has anything been said by the Civil Aviation Authority or by Comair themselves about what it is exactly that had the authority scared, and what it is that's been said or done that's put them at ease?
So unfortunately, Taps, we are unable to get those documents or get a clearer understanding as to what findings the Civil Aviation Authority found against Comair. All we do know that it had to do with immediate safety risks, and there were 3 findings of level 1 and 1 of level 2, and we do know that level 1 speaks to immediate safety risks. The fact that Comair had 2 malfunctions, one in February and one in March, we do understand it was engine failure, speaks to the severity of the matter, and this is why the Civil Aviation Authority decided to rather suspend flights indefinitely until it was satisfied with the documentation provided by Comair for its Kulula and British Airways flights, to say that should any aircraft take off, it will land safely and it will be a safe flight. Previously, you had 2 aircraft that needed to reroute to OR Tambo International Airport because of the engine failures. So that cannot happen again. And because of the time frame that this happened, 1 in Feb, 1 in March, almost 4 to 6 weeks apart, the Civil Aviation Authority says that should not happen. That's not the standard when it comes to aviation. And this is why they had to do this. Of course, Comair is going to have to do a lot of groundwork to try and build that trust again with its passengers, especially those that are second-guessing and questioning their safety if they should be in a Kulula or British Airways flight. But you can see many are still coming out. Many are probably satisfied and just grateful the fact that they can get onto their flight because of the panic we saw since Saturday.
That was actually going to be my next question, is the sentiment of those passengers. Do they feel safe getting on these flights? And do you have any idea if the people who were bumped off the suspended flights are still waiting to get on planes, or they've just decided to make other plans because they don't want to get back on a Comair flight?
I think many had to make alternative arrangements because many had business trips planned, many had to get home, many had to travel to various destinations for whatever reason it was, and many were saying that they had no other choice but to book onto other flights. And we do know that there was a massive surge in prices, even though you have the national carrier saying that's not the case. You also have other airlines saying that they just had to deal with the demand and they didn't necessarily increase the prices. You also have many who were sitting here at the airport saying, we want a solution, or we want Comair to give our money back because we have no other way to get onto another flight. That was the money we had budgeted for, and hence we had booked with Comair. So I do think that Comair is needing to deal with a lot of passengers that don't actually just want a voucher for another day, but actually want a refund. Many just said, we'll wait it out. Many were fortunate enough to have only booked from today onwards, and that suspension has already been lifted. But you can see passengers are coming through, Taps. Many are saying, well, we might as well just continue with our travel and our journey and hope that we'll be safe. But I think there is some comfort in the fact that the Civil Aviation Authority has given the green light.
Finally, Heidi, I've only got about 30 seconds left with you. Have we noticed any change in the pricing of tickets now that Comair is back online?
Not necessarily, no. We haven't seen any of that, but we do know that the Competition Commission has sent out a stern warning to other airlines to say they should not take advantage of the desperation that many passengers have been facing by increasing their prices unnecessarily and extremely high, because it's something that the Civil Aviation Authority had to do. But we haven't seen any increase in prices so far, especially from Comair, and also I think the prices have remained the same from other airlines.
All right, Heidi, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Heidi Goikos at OR Tambo International Airport, where Kulula and British Airways flights have resumed.